Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get the idea. 55 more seconds of me talking to you when you could be speaking to potential new customers. For only $5, you can permanently add your ad to this or one of our many other podcasts. That's every download, every stream, every live listen, everywhere in the world. All you need to do is visit us online at tomasianent.com. That's TOMASIANENT.com. And click on the services link at the top of the page. Check out our advertising opportunities and our other services as well, all starting at only $5. 51, 52, 53, 54. But you get the idea. Now get your message out there. Welcome to the TE Spotlight, where we shine a light on the next and new authors, artists, comedians, choreographers, actors, directors, musicians, internet personalities, up-and-comer or well-established, people you need to know and people you need to know more about. This is the TE Spotlight.
Welcome to the TE Spotlight. In today's Spotlight, we have Faran Tahir. His latest movie, Mad Genius, came out actually a few days ago on Amazon Prime and Vudu and iTunes. It's called Mad Genius. I was able to look at it over this past weekend. It is an amazing film, and I recommend every single one of you go out there and see it. Mr. Tahir, welcome to the Spotlight. How are you doing today?
I am doing very well, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's jump in. You have been known for doing a lot of blockbuster films and television. What attracted you to this role? It's an indie film. It's gone straight to the streaming services, which I think is brilliant the way films are being distributed nowadays. What attracted you to the script, to this character of Eden?
Several things. I think Royce, who I think is a wonderful, wonderful director and writer, he came to me with this project, and I really was intrigued by this idea of exploring our own minds. I think to live in this surreal place of what is real and what is not real, and where we are and where we're not. I think we in our mind do that all the time. Even as I'm talking to you, my mind might be wandering into some other thought, which I might be suppressing at this point. And I love that idea of how to explore that. And where does our mind go, the crevices and the darkness and the lightness of our own brain is a fascinating idea to me. And then how to bring it so that we can invite others to enjoy this experience, and also ask that question of themselves or ourselves, how our brain works.
I found most interesting this role of Eden. One of the first words you say in the beginning when you're talking about this concept of reckoning, and it was a recurring theme that kept going throughout. Reckoning. What did that mean to you in the context of this role?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I think the reckoning is something that even within the recesses of our mind is working on, and we are working on our own actions, our own ability to come to terms with sometimes the world and sometimes ourselves. And I always say this, that no one gets up in the morning and says, today I'm going to be really evil. You know, the reason people are or do devilish acts or evil acts is because they justify them somehow or the other. That justification doesn't mean that you have then reckoned with yourself or have come to peace with what is going on. And I think so. The reckoning is not only reckoning with the world, but it is also reckoning with yourself. And I think that is the exciting part or exciting thing to me. And therefore that word does come up and echoes many times in the movie.
How did you prepare for this role? Because it's not your typical straightforward. I was going to say you're just that good. You didn't even bother to prepare. You showed up, went right in. It's amazing.
I think when for a role, I think we can. I mean, I was joking, but at the same time, for a role like this, you have to come with the entire palette that you have, and try to see where it takes you rather than having a set idea of where you're going to go with it. Because it is the kind of a role which is an exploration. It's not some one way to play it, because this world is so liquid and so fluid that you, as an actor, as a person, you need to come into this world with that kind of fluidity in the approach that you bring to it. So yes, I had an idea. Well, we know what the actions of this character are going to be, but how are those actions going to manifest themselves? And that, for me, in this role, had a lot to do with how I'm interacting with the reality of this piece, and also the other actors, what they're bringing to this, to their characters, and then play off of that.
I think that's what attracted me so much to this movie, and why I thoroughly enjoyed it. The underlying philosophy behind it, and the question of who is really the villain here. Because on the one hand, the character Mason, played by a really brilliant actor, Chris Mason, and
yes.
Yeah, his character that he plays, the Mr. Vix in here. On the one hand, you say, okay, well, he's trying to, quote, save the world. But is he really? Who's really saving the world here? And the way you played the character of Eden, and the way you disseminated the argument of this is what needs to be done to save the world, I found myself going, I understand the consequences of his actions, but I kind of agree with him in how he's going about it. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I need to, check in.
But to me, that is the most exciting part, which is when you're telling a story, the observer or the person you're telling the story to, it should also take you to those corners of your own mind and heart, and go, oh my God, I kind of agree with this, and it makes me feel dirty, but where am I? And I think it's art should always put a mirror up to ourselves. It should always make us look into ourselves and go, am I capable of this? Can I justify this? Can I be pushed to this limit of extremes? So I think that's the beauty of it.
Well, you're a person who's done, as I stated before, some major roles. People know you from Star Trek. People know you from Iron Man, and of course from television roles such as 12 Monkeys. And I should have started this, I believe, by saying, "Welcome, Mr. President," because every single person, it's hilarious. I was just a quick story. I was trying to tell a friend, I'm really excited. I'm going to be interviewing Faran for the TE Spotlight. I'm really excited about this. And he's looking at me, I don't know who that is. I'm so sorry. And so I pulled up your picture and showed it to him. And I'm telling him he was in Jungle Book. Like, I remember him in Jungle Book. He was, in Iron Man. How do you not know he was in Iron Man? He was in Star Trek. What's wrong with you? And I pull up your picture, show it to him, and he goes, oh, yeah, that's the president. And I'm like, what? He goes, it's President Rashad. Why didn't you just say that? He's on Scandal.
But that is the biggest compliment to me, because I don't really care if people know my name or not. I think the faces or that one can bring and offer to people, the characters, the stories that you can tell. If people remember you through those, that to me is the biggest and the best compliment I can get.
Right, absolutely. Well, after doing all of that, the major work, and we spoke a little bit beforehand where you said you're still doing theater, and I really want to talk about that towards the end as well. But what attracts you to the indie films and the smaller projects in the theater? One would say, oh, you're a movie star now. You don't need to do that stuff. What brings you back to those more humble roots in the entertainment industry?
Well, I mean, they might be humble as far as budgets are concerned, but I think some of the best, most cutting-edge work is happening in indie films and theater and all that. And I'll tell you why. Because when you do a big project, it could be very exciting. It has all the money, it has all the facilities to bring the story to you, and that is beautiful and wonderful, and that gives you the ability to take it to a different level. But at the same time, there's something wonderfully challenging about when you have a restricted budget. It actually pushes your creativity to a different level, to find how to tell this story with what you have. So that's one thing. I think sometimes when you're doing big movies, and again, I do not knock them down. They're wonderful. When you get into merchandising and all of that, sometimes the focus can also shift, and you're not looking at the story from a different perspective. And I think some of the more fresher, more creative work always comes out of indie movies, I think. And I want to be a part of that. So, because it's as an actor, I guess an artist, that's when you start to actually dive deeper into your own self and try to find, okay, well, how, given this and this and this, and I don't have this and this and this, how do I still portray this character or tell this story to the best of my ability? It's a growth as an actor.
I actually think it's brilliant. I do indie work myself, so I am completely invested in, and I say this all the time, what we lack in budget, we make up for in creativity, because you have to sort of almost go grassroots, if you will, and take it back to its humble beginnings. Okay, we can't afford a spaceship.
Absolutely.
How do we act like we're on a spaceship?
And exactly, and what we might lack in budget, we make up in also sincerity of telling the story. You
Absolutely.
See, so it's that balance which I really love.
Absolutely. You're also a director, so when you're approaching certain roles, and I've heard this from various actor directors, sometimes because you're used to being a director, or you're used to wearing the director's hat, you say, well, I like the way they're doing that, but I would do that this way. Are you fairly compartmentalized when you approach a role as an actor or a director? Do you find yourself sometimes second? Does one inform the other? How does that work for you?
It does. And to me, you have to, as a director, that other side of your ego, that is the actor ego, or when you're an actor, your other side of your ego, which is the director, you have to let it be, because you have to explore it. If there's an actor if I'm directing, if the actor is playing a character in a very different way than I would, then we need to explore where he's taking that character, and how do we then try to make it precise and vivid and actionable for this particular actor, because that's the beauty of it. It's not a science; it's an art form, and there is no one answer how to play it. If that was the case, there would be only one way to do Shakespeare. There isn't. Or there would be only one way to play a character. That's the beauty of it, that people will bring their own experience, their own creativity, their own expression, and then you play with that. You try to explore that and try to make it the best that you can. And to me, that is an exciting thing. So, yes, even if I might play something differently, I'm not playing it. So I have to leave that aside. I have to make sure, yes, there might be certain silhouettes that I want to fill as a director for different characters. And we might have to find that kind of a dialogue, because to me, this art form, whether it's film, television, theater, it's the most collaborative of art forms. If we can't collaborate, and if we're just trying to impose an idea on a story or an actor, then I think we're doing a disservice to everyone, including the audience. So that's my approach to it.
I hope that every actor listening to this hears you. Be they an actor. No, seriously. That's the best acting advice. Leave the ego at the door and become a receptacle for the art itself. And I think the thing that you're mentioning
Absolutely.
is the thing I think this was acting 101 for me when I went to acting school. Discover. And don't be afraid to discover. Walk in with fearlessness.
I know.
Yeah. And it's just so refreshing to hear that. You're an actor's actor.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that.
Somebody once told me that, when you resist, you fall backwards. And when you explore, you might trip forward.